Hi, good afternoon. Let me first start by introducing my wife Debbie and my daughter Ashley. What a great honor it has been these last 11 years to have the opportunity to serve the citizens of House District 76 in Broken Arrow. I'm grateful for the privilege to have been able to serve them. I've sought to be found faithful in executing those responsibilities. I view that as a sacred trust, a stewardship entrusted to me by the voters of Broken Arrow, and I've sought to be found faithful in fulfilling those obligations. In those 11 years, according to the information provided to me by the House Clerk, I have not missed a day of legislative service. In the first 8 years of those 11, of over 10,000 recorded votes, I missed only 4. I highlight this information because I think it's reflective of the seriousness with which I view my current responsibilities. Secondly, I've been honored to have been trusted by my colleagues to serve them with added leadership responsibilities in the caucus. At 4 different times and 4 different legislative sessions, they've entrusted me with additional leadership responsibilities within the caucus. You know, we're all familiar with the TV show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And one of the lifelines that is granted to the contestants is the opportunity to ask the audience. Those individuals that have worked closest with me, who have had the chance to see me serve in the House day to day, have had an opportunity to witness how I serve the citizens. They've entrusted me on 4 different occasions with those leadership responsibilities, and I'm honored to have been so entrusted. As many of you know, I currently chair the Republican caucus of the House of Representatives. It's an honor to serve in that capacity, and it may have led to having the opportunity to chair this year's statewide GOP convention that happened last month. My call to public service happened as a result of a 1-week missions trip in 1991 to St. Petersburg, Russia. The young people speak good enough English that you have an opportunity to carry on a conversation with them. And in talking with them, you realize that they're no different than you or I. They have the same hopes and dreams and aspirations for their family that you or I might have. And yet, as you look around the country, their outcome is profoundly different than what we have to enjoy here in this country. And I came back from that trip with a profoundly different sense of what it meant to take a civic responsibility and my civic duties to preserve what has been entrusted to you and to me for the next generation, the liberties and the type of government structure that have been purchased for us. In 1979, nearly 30 years ago, I took a job marketing electrocardiogram analysis by computer and traveling throughout the state of Oklahoma marketing that service to rural physicians, rural hospitals, and I had a chance to become very familiar with the various cities and towns throughout the state of Oklahoma. In 1989, I took a job as a manufacturer sales representative, and I traveled extensively throughout eastern Oklahoma, east of I-35. I've grown very familiar with the state of Oklahoma during those professional responsibilities. I've become knowledgeable about Oklahoma, about its landscape, about its cities, its towns, and yes, some of its challenges. But I've also become familiar with its #1 asset, and that is its people, who have a tremendous work ethic. They're very kind and gracious. They're full of appreciation for traditional values, and as we have all witnessed, they're extremely generous to their neighbors in need, especially when Oklahomans face a crisis. It would be an honor to be entrusted with the responsibilities to serve these citizens of the state of Oklahoma with the office of Lieutenant Governor. And today I am declaring my intent to contend for the Republican nomination for the office of Lieutenant Governor for 2010. And with that, I'd be happy to take a few questions.
What do you see?
You know, the amount of funds to be competitive in the race depends upon who else gets in it. Today I have closed out my House campaign account, and I filed the official paperwork with the Ethics Commission to legally start the pursuit of this office. As you know, we've passed legislation that prohibits active fundraising from lobbyists and lobbyist principals during the legislative session. In the spirit of that, I have not sought to raise funds during the legislative session. Certainly that'll be one of the key focuses as soon as we adjourn from the House this year.
Did you roll your representative?
I did roll the remaining funds I have, just a little over $25,000. I know that's not enough to get it done, but it's enough to get started.
What do you see the office of Lieutenant Governor being? How would you do?
You know, that's a great question. The office of Lieutenant Governor, first of all, serves as a spare parachute. You know, in case something tragic should happen to the governor, you want to have someone ready to step in and assume those responsibilities. In this regard, this is where I think it's important to have someone who has served for a long period of time in the legislative process, because they're familiar with what has been tried over the past years. They're familiar with the way the legislation is enacted, and also comfortable working with the various individuals that have the responsibilities within the legislative process. And so one of the first jobs of Lieutenant Governor is to serve as a spare parachute. None of us would want to jump out of an aircraft with just one. You hope you don't need the spare. Also, of course, the Lieutenant Governor is given the opportunity to travel the state and talk about what's good and what's right about the state of Oklahoma. I've already addressed the fact that I've had a chance to travel extensively throughout the state, and I would look forward to that part of the job.
How about name recognition and concern that the known probably in eastern Oklahoma, but western Oklahoma, not so much?
You know, that is one of the reasons why we're announcing a year from the filing period. After taking a few days at the end of the legislative session to get caught up with my family, we intend to start the campaign June 4th in Grove, Oklahoma, one of the first places I travel to in the state, certainly one of the jewels of the state of Oklahoma, and we'll begin the process of increasing the awareness of our campaign and our campaign's goals. I believe the House is due in at 12:15. Thank you very much for the honor. I look forward to the opportunity